You can't always smell the smoke. You can't always tell it's a joke. Howdy music lovers, Tom from Blakgraz here. That is just a small snippet of my song Will Not Fall Again, and that's actually an older tune, believe it or not. In this video I want to talk about something really interesting. I've had being on the road again now, coming on 2 years in June, going non-stop from place to place, and meeting other musicians and other folks from different towns and things like that. I'm having a really interesting perspective on not just my career but life in general, and I wanted to share that interesting epiphany with y'all and see what you think. So let's get right to it, shall we? Howdy music lovers, Tom from Blakgraz here. Welcome to another episode of Guitar and Gab. And before I get into it, I want to say a huge shout out to my buddy Dave Pendergraft down at JD's Southside in South San Antonio, Texas.
Southeast Military Drive.
He's on Southeast Military Drive.
That's right.
On South San Antonio, south side of San Antonio, Texas, y'all, Texas. He is the man, the myth, the legend, the king of Texas country, actually. Now, he doesn't like it when I say that, but he's been doing country music in Texas since 1966, so I like to call him the king of Texas country. Now, he says he's not famous, but he knows everybody. So, he's the king of Texas country to me. He also happens to be one of the best friends that we've ever had in our whole lives. He calls and checks on us while we're on the road.
Weekly.
Every week. Sometimes more often when he knows we're having trouble with Rufus. And has been a huge help in a whole bunch of different kinds of ways.
It's fun when we can call him before he calls us too.
Yeah, that's always the trick, is
like we're trying to beat
catch him first. But it's just wonderful to have a friend like that, you know, who is so supportive and believes in what you're doing and is encouraging and has actually really supported in many, many different ways. So a huge thanks to Dave Pendergraft. Make sure you check out JD Southside on Southeast Military Drive on the south side of San Antonio. And just as a reminder, he's the fella singing on my song, Got a Song for You. He's also the one who inspired the song that I wrote called Down at Dave's Place. So
he's also the one how you came about custom build.
That's exactly where I was going. So this guitar is Stella. We've named her Stella. Built by Mr. Vaughn Shannon out of Austin, Texas. Custom build guitars, thintheherdguitars.com. And the way I was introduced to Vaughn Shannon was through Dave Pendergraft at JD's Southside. He said, you got to meet this guy. He makes the best guitars. You're gonna love them. He was selling Vaughn's guitars before he even owned the music store, because he had bought a bunch of guitars himself from Vaughn and loved them. So then when he opened the store, he is still to this day the exclusive distributor of, in-store distributor of custom build guitars. Now, you can buy Vaughn's guitars straight from Vaughn on thintheherdguitars.com, or you can go into JD Southside, pick one up and play it yourself, and you will, I guarantee, will have the same experience I did, which was, oh man, now I gotta buy it. It sounds so good and it plays so good, now I have to buy it. Oh shoot. So, you know, the funny thing about that story is that either Vaughn or you kept handing me more and more of his guitars, and I kept playing them going, wow, how do you do that? How do these guitars sound so good? And I've played expensive guitars at Norm's Rare Guitars in LA. Expensive, $50,000 guitars, and they were horrible. did not sound good, didn't like them. And then he starts handing me all his, and I'm just like, every single one I fell in love with.
And he makes electric guitar and bass guitar as well.
Yep, he makes electric guitars and bass guitars. And if you look for the Wolf model in particular, that is his own signature design as well. So make sure you look for the Wolf guitar.
Which you have, which is Sandy.
That's Sandy. And I do love that guitar, boy. She sings. She sings. So I wanted to talk in this video basically about this perspective I've gotten now that we've been touring. Now I've had kind of glimpses of this revelation throughout the years of playing, but it's become acutely focused in my mind in the last 2 years especially.
Especially the fact that it overlaps into so many states we go to.
So many states, everywhere we go. See, one of the things about traveling around is what you realize is that everywhere you go, people are the same. They all want the same thing. They want to be respected. They want to be loved. They want to be able to take care of their families. They want to be able to support themselves and the people that they love.
And enjoy life.
And enjoy life. Just have dignity of purpose, and they want to help their neighbors. Most 99% of the people that we meet are the nicest kind of people that you'd want to hang out with all the time, which is why we've talked about in the past having an annual party where everybody we meet from all over the country comes together, and we all just stay at an RV park for a whole weekend and just hang out and meet each other. It's just the best kind of folks, right? So one of the things I've noticed, though, especially when it comes to when I meet other musicians on the road, how people are at different stages of their lives, right? And I've done enough stuff now in my life that I'm starting to look at what they're doing, feeling like, whoa, I remember going through that. I remember thinking that way. I remember acting that way. I remember wanting that and wishing that I could reach this. You know, there used to be a time in my life where I wished I could get signed by a label, right? I wanted to get a label so that I could become rich and famous, you know. Now I want nothing to do with labels. I see them as nothing but bad news. I mean, literally slave drivers. And then you got the attorneys who, after all, you work your whole life as a celebrity to build up fame and fortune, and they'll steal it right from under you and call you mentally incompetent. They do it all the time to senior citizens. They steal their acquired wealth instead of allowing it to be handed down generationally as an inheritance to their family members, and they take it for themselves. I mean, you talk about sharks. I mean, the joke is, you know, what's the difference between attorneys and sharks? Well, sharks don't eat their own kind.
We've seen it with, I mean, anybody who's a Britney Spears fan, there's issues with that. I mean, she's a prime example amongst others.
She's a very good example, and just one of many, I'm sure.
The ladies from TLC, I mean, they talked about how they were out performing all the time and never seeing stupid trucks and never seeing a penny of it, really.
Yeah, they literally had to renegotiate their contract because they weren't getting paid anything, and they were working their butt off all the time.
Prince would speak out. And
Prince did, yeah. Michael Jackson did.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's nothing new, right? But I used to want a label, and then I used to want to be on the radio, and I used to want this, and I used to want that, and I used to talk about, well, I'm working on this song and I don't know what I'm going to do, or I'd like to be able to go on tour. I'd like to be able to play all original shows. I remember thinking that way. Or even, you know, even some musicians, well, I've got a family now and I got to pay the bills and I've got to do because, you know, that's my responsibility.
Or doing the same old ways of doing things,
or
too.
even just playing covers. Well, you got to play covers. People tell you they want the covers and they want this, and well, you know, I've got a band and my drummer has this and my bass player needs that, and you know, we've got to rehearse, and it's hard to get together, and all these different life paths, right? Oh, I bought a house. Oh, I bought a car. Oh, I've got credit card debt. Oh, I finally paid off my debt. Oh, my car's broke down. Oh, my gears, you know, all this stuff, right? And I'm starting to see these patterns from this perspective. Now, mind you, I'm not famous. I'm not a know-it-all. I know that I'm still learning.
We ain't rich.
And we're not rich yet.
Well, financially. We are rich in a multitudes of other ways with our relationship and things like that. But
at least we have real money.
Yeah.
We have real money, not Federal Reserve notes. We have real money, and we'll explain that some other time. The point is that you get to a later time in your life that you start to recognize those patterns, right? And you want desperately to share what you ran into, you know, and not to be cliche, but that whole feel, felt, found thing, you know, that actually is true, except that sometimes it can come across as condescending, or, well, I'm not you, you know, you don't know anything about me or whatever, but you see the same thought processes and you see the same decisions happening. And especially with music, because it's so, that's why Spinal Tap is so funny.
Yeah.
Because it's almost always the same story over and over and over. Spinal Tap is hilarious because that's exactly what it's like to be in a band. You know, we were talking earlier about the idea of egos too, you know. You don't get on stage unless you have an ego that demands that you get on stage and get attention, right? You just don't. I mean, if you want to do music and you're really not an egomaniac, then you probably would sing in your church choir and hide in the back, because it just feels good to make that music with your voice and add to the sound. But you're not looking for applause or recognition. You just do it because it feels good. And I know, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because I used to do that. When I was little, I would run to Sunday morning. I would go down early for the first 8 o'clock mass, and then I'd be there for the 9 o'clock, and then the 10 o'clock, and then the 11 o'clock, because I just liked singing. I was in the tenor because I was young. I had the high voice, so I would sing all the high harmonies. I knew all the songs by heart, and I just loved being in the choir in this mass of people. And it was a college choir, so we were a little more liberal. They would sometimes put in instruments, guitars and, you know, mandolin, and sometimes even bass and drums. It was really really fun to me. I was going down to sing because it was fun, and I just, so I know what it feels like. And then all through, you know, well, high school for sure. I don't know about before middle school. I think middle school I was in choir too. But I did symphonic choir all through high school because it just feels good to be in the middle of a group of people who are really well rehearsed and are singing their hearts out, singing loud. It's the greatest feeling in the world. You know, we've been watching these Pitch Perfect movies just to make ourselves laugh, but I totally get where those people are coming from. There is something magical that happens when people sing together or make music together like a band, right? That energetic exchange through the air and through the vibrations that you create is really magical.
The mastermind of not just the physical, but the spiritual harmony that takes place when you're all focused for the same goal and purpose.
The energy is exponentially bigger than the independent parts if you were to add them up. When it comes together, there's an exponential jump in energetic exchange.
And it actually, the fact that you're mentioning the movies ties into what you're, like, kind of what we were talking about, not just with egos and stuff, but the transitioning from cover to original, because by the end of the second movie, remember? Oh,
well, sure, yeah. I mean, that's a good point. In the second Pitch Perfect, the main character, the young lady who does the mashups, she has an interaction with this famous producer, right? And the producer liked one of her ideas and said, "Do you have any demos?" So she gives him a demo, and he, when she follows up with him, he's like, "It's just a bunch of mashups. Anybody with a laptop nowadays can do mashups. Who are you? What do you have to say?
What is your voice?
What's your voice?" And then as he's leaving the room, he says, "It'd be a real shame to see all your talent stop because all you ever are is somebody who sings sings covers in an a cappella group."
Same thing with every other cover band out there who does the same songs as every other cover band.
Same thing. Now, there's nothing wrong with playing covers if that's just what you're after, right?
No, there's a lot to learn from playing covers.
Not everybody is driven to create new music and go to the extreme maybe even that we've gone to, which is kind of what I'm getting at with this video in terms of perspective and seeing patterns, right? You want to share this experience, you want to share this knowledge with younger artists or with other musicians, even if they're the same age. You know, it goes back to that. It goes back to that constant thorn in my side. I get done with the show and the place has gone nuts and people are going crazy, and one guy will walk up and go, "Dude, I really love what you do. I really love what you do. But you know, to get more, you get famous, you need to do some covers." Just, dude, God, what does it take? The whole place went nuts, right? And one guy comes up and thinks he's an expert in the industry. So my answer anymore is, yeah, I've done that. How come it didn't work before? And maybe I expect the answer will become, well, you got to do them your way. You know, make it your sound.
Yep, done that.
And my answer will again be, yeah, I've done that, and it didn't work. Any other suggestions, since you're an expert on the industry now? You suddenly have the insight to becoming world famous?
Because if that was the case, you would be doing it
let
for
me
yourself.
guess. Your next piece of advice is going to be, well, then you need to get a label. Can you imagine a label? Yeah. Okay, you have just explained to me that you have no clue what is happening in the music world right now.
That's like somebody telling me as an indie author, you should, why don't you just try to get traditionally published? No thanks. No thanks.
The point being, these people have the best of intentions, but I've already been through that cycle.
The
right?
intention is through old mindset programming too. They aren't aware of what's going on.
There has
in any
been
respect.
such massive shifts in how the economics work for the entertainment industry that almost nobody really knows exactly. Even the industry experts themselves are not sure where this is going. And so instead of waiting around for somebody to figure it out, Blakgraz, we decided we're going to go on the road and just make it happen the way we need to make it happen, which is you just pull up your boots and you do the work yourselves. Now that we've done that for 2 years and we're seeing positive results, it's nice to be able to share this perspective from where we are. Now, we're not at the end goal, and there really never will be an end goal. We're not even at the next level yet.
2 years into the journey.
Well, 2 years into a 5-year business plan.
But
just
you know
2
what?
years.
We haven't packed up our bags and went back home and went and got regular jobs.
Well, no, and there was a lot of times where we thought about it, and a lot of times I bet where other people would have, because it was so stressful. It was just really stressful. But the payoff has been completely and totally worth it.
I would say not even the financial, though that helps. I'm talking about the payoff on the friends that we've made, the places we've gone, the things that we're doing, the reach that we're seeing, the effect that your music is having on people.
That is exactly what I mean when I say payoff.
Yeah.
It's great to define that. Our payoff is not necessarily even financial at this point, because sometimes when you're wondering if you should even keep going, sometimes the payoff you're looking for is a place like the last couple places we played, Hanks, as well as, Cotton Field. People enjoying what you're doing and really appreciating and happy to pay you, happy to tip you, happy to buy merch. We've got open dates, we've got another place, come back and play. When are you going to be back in town? That's the stuff that keeps the morale up and keeps your spirits up when the challenges like the camper or equipment come along and you're like, no, we'll figure this out, because they want us back. They love what we do, and we're going to make it happen. That's really the payoff. When people just appreciate what you're doing, is there's no better exchange than that.
Well, I'd add too, like, I get with respect to what everybody's saying, oh, you should do some covers so people come out and see you. And it's like, well, other people have done that, but Bruce Springsteen didn't get popular for doing covers or his versions of covers. How else was he supposed to get you to know and love his music? By shoving it in your face online, well, not online back then, but in person. He had to keep playing to people who never knew who he was, until suddenly a song got used for something, a commercial or a movie, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, who's this Bruce Springsteen guy? And then bam, everybody suddenly knows Bruce Springsteen. Same thing with every other band out there.
So there's this thought that keeps going through my mind when I play shows now. I expect somewhere down the road Blakgraz to get a little more popular, and people will be asking each other the question, where was the first time you ever heard Blakgraz? Heard or saw Blakgraz play? Where were you? Where was it? What small little bar was it? What brewery was it? What restaurant was it? What theater was it?
What point in your life did you suddenly hear Blakgraz and respond to one of the songs?
Yeah, when was the first time you thought, oh, that's my new favorite song?
That's
it
my new
happened to be
jam.
a Blakgraz tune. I expect, that's the thought that keeps going through my mind now at every show, is every one of these people at some point down the road, I don't know how far, but somewhere down the road, are eventually going to be asking each other, man, do you remember when we saw Blakgraz at Hanks? Do you remember when we saw Blakgraz at Cotton Field? And so when I see other musicians or other artists going through those other cycles of trying to figure out, well, should I do covers or should I do originals, or I've got this day job and I've got my family, I've got a mortgage, I've got these bills, you know, I want to offer information, but I don't know them well enough. And even if I knew them well enough, would it really help? I mean, sometimes you just have to let people enjoy their journey, right? Sometimes you just have to bite your tongue and just let them have fun on the path, figuring it out for themselves, so that they can say, I finally figured it out, you know? It's not always good to steal someone's thunder in the process of discovering what it is that they truly want. Now, see, that's probably the biggest question of all. What is it that you really want? And do you want it because you want it, or because you've been programmed by TV and your church and your family that that's what you want? You know, you want lots of money, you want big cars, you want a mansion, you want this. Remember, with every big thing, right? You want to be the CEO of some big corporation. That all comes with a whole bunch of additional things, responsibilities, liabilities, time, focus, because you don't create something big, even like Blakgraz. I mean, we're on the road all the time. We're going city to city all the time. Every day we get up, we think, we talk, we act about Blakgraz. Every post, every mile that we drive down the road, every set of strings, everything is always Blakgraz. Myopic focus on building Blakgraz, right? And all the responsibility that comes with that, because we've got a cat and a dog and this beautiful lady that we're responsible for. And plus, we got to be responsible for the agreements we make, right? We make agreements that we're going to show up and put on the best show possible every single time. So that means I need to stay in shape. I need to keep my hands loose. I need to have the show up to speed. The gear has to work right. We got to make sure that Rufus actually gets to the show. You know, so I mean, everything you think you want has additional elements attached to it. Have you really even thought about that?
Well, and the realization that it's your dream. No one else is going to achieve it.
No one else is going to do it or help you.
But you. I mean, you'll get some assistance, like I help you, you're helping me. But outside of that, no one can achieve the dream that you have if you really want it but you. So if you're in the process of feeling sad or struggled or whatever, that's on you. If you're not where you want to be, that's on you. Make a change or change your dream. It's okay to change your dream and realize, like the adage of that comedian. I thought I wanted to be a boxer until I met a guy who really wanted to box, and he got clobbered by a boxer.
You got clobbered, yeah. So now, you know, that's important too. Mm-hmm. You know, you help me, I help you. Mm-hmm. We're a unit though. See, we're married 23 years.
We're a union.
So we're really not two different people. We are the same entity. And we've talked about that, and we know that. So, you know, when I see other artists and other people kind of going through the same phases and thought processes that we've been through, or that I've been through personally, it's really hard sometimes to not say something, because you don't want to diminish their own judgment. You know, you'd like to help, you want to help them avoid the pitfalls, but sometimes you can't. And now, especially because not too long ago, not more than just a few years ago in Texas, if you had told me that I could play all original shows and make 3, 4, 5 times more playing all original shows than I was making playing covers ever in my whole career, I would have told you were on drugs and that was impossible. But now that I've seen the other side of it from doing it for 2 years and how successful it's becoming, I would encourage every single artist out there to really, really seriously hunker down and hone your craft. Get really good at writing strong songs that don't even require great performance. The songs that are the best are the ones that any Joe Schmo can play, but everybody loves them. It doesn't mean that everything you do has to be simple. It just means that the song needs to be strong. So once you have enough strong songs, then build them like bricks for a beautiful mansion that is your show. From beginning to middle to end, your show has every single song is strong, and there's an ebb and flow of energy that you put out into the room for each show. You know, I'm supposed to do this 6th annual May Day Festival next week in Tuscumbia, Alabama. And we went up for the interview, and I asked Lisa, who is one of the organizers with Chris, I said, okay, now how long again do I have for this set? You want me to start at 7 o'clock?
Because you're the headliner.
Yeah. I'm the headliner. And she said, well, it's 45-minute set and you got 15 minutes to set up. And I looked at her and I said, Lisa, you know that's not long enough for me. And she just goes, I know. You can go, you probably go a little bit extra, but we do have to have it, shut down. We got to all be cleared out by 10. You probably should stop by 9. And I'm like, that's barely an hour?
No, you're 7 to 8. And if you pushed it till 9.
Well, that would be 2 hours, but they do that light show also. But I mean, even 2 hours is just not enough for what Blakgraz does now. My minimum now is a 3-hour marathon with no breaks. And I still feel like that's not enough time. But anyway, so, now that's a different perspective too. Being able to do 3 hours nonstop of my own stuff, song to song to song to song to song, and have every song well received by an audience. Every single tune. Remember that guy at Melanie's place? No, at Almost Ice House, Ken? His name was Ken.
Funny, yeah.
This fella was playing
Sweet
pool
man.
With his wife, listening to me play, and the audience was there, and it was my first time there, and he just stopped in between songs playing at one point, and he goes, dang, you don't have a single bad song. And I joked, I said, Ken, you haven't heard them all yet.
He was sweet. He was funny.
He laughed. He thought it was funny. But he'd been there for quite a while, at least 2 hours.
Well, I would add, too, aside, whether people want to take what you have to say or I have to say to any grain of salt, we have quantifiable results. We're 2 years in. Pretty much every single place, if they've never heard you before, as soon as you're done, when can we have you back?
Yeah.
I mean, that alone. I mean, even at Confield, they're like, nothing against all the other bands that we have here, but wow. Because you're not just playing acoustic. You've got your backing tracks, which you need, because we can't do a full band right now. Mm-hmm. And they're like, it's so refreshing. We've heard this many times. It's so refreshing to hear something new. And that's another reason why I would encourage artists, stop doing covers. Use the covers to learn how to properly write a song. What of all the songs, why do you play the songs you play? There's something about each one that makes you remember it, supposedly, to play it, right? And then why the audience reacts to it. So write and follow the structure to a degree on what those songs are doing, and write your own, because you know what? As soon as you take a chance on yourself and nail those just even 10 solid songs that make people turn their heads, like you with Seeking Glory and half of the other songs, you'll feel differently. You'll feel, I mean, even if the people aren't there for you, they're there to drink, they're there to eat, or they're there to hear the same songs everybody else is playing weekend after weekend. So give yourself more clout and credibility, learn your craft, hone writing, follow the model that's worked, but make it your own. Yeah. And then write a strong song emulating what you already love.
Yeah, so what she's talking about now, mind you, the reason that she can I feel comfortable her sharing all of that is because she's been with
Over
me for
20 years.
23 years, watching me perform in all kinds of different bands, in all kinds of different venues, in all kinds of different areas, in front of all kinds of different people. So she knows as much as I do because we've just been together that long.
I've
So
seen
now, hold on, you don't
everything
have to-
that's Spinal Tap. I could probably run sound better than a lot of sound men, and I'm not
Hold
a sound
on.
engineer.
So what she's talking about is people will say to you, as if you're a musician and you're watching this, you need to do covers. You say, well, I don't want to do covers. And they say, yeah, but if you do them your way, right? Well, okay, well, if you do a cover and you do it your way, why are you doing the cover at all then? Why not just write a song that's similar to this song that they're suggesting, like Leonard Skinner's Sweet Home Alabama? Write something that's close to that. So pick that beat, pick that chord progression, write something different.
Yep.
Guess what? That's now your original that sounds like Leonard Skinner. And there's nothing wrong with sounding like Leonard Skinner because everybody and their brother uses Chuck Berry, right? Everybody uses that kind of lick. Everybody uses a blues. Everybody uses a lot of the same stuff.
There's
So
only so
pick
many
the
chords
songs-
and so many notes.
Pick the songs that if you were doing a cover show, you know the crowd responds to,
right like that.
and then write songs that are similar to that style. Kind of the same beat, kind of the same chord progression, a little bit of the melody, but not the whole thing. Change it just enough, change the words and story just enough, make it yours. Now the legal term for that is interpolation, right? You're interpolating something that has been done before. Yeah, but people have been interpolating music since music was first invented. Bach, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, all of the famous classical stuff, even the Nutcracker, all of that, all music interpolates and builds on what came before. Stop pretending that you're reinventing the wheel.
How many versions of Beauty and the Beast or Little Mermaid or any of these others, Bram Stoker, Dracula, how many versions of this, that, and the other have they done? Same thing, just different interpolations.
Right. So you don't have to, I mean, mind you, there are lots of artists out there who actually do come up with something that's truly unique and original. And actually what you'll find if you go through the Blakgraz catalog, there are a lot of my songs that don't sound like anybody else. There are a lot of my songs that have no reference to anybody else except they were just what came out of my head. However, I also write, borrowing from all of the great bands that I love. Now, get back to the idea of, since this is the perspective now for where I am at, I'm able to see what other musicians and other people in their lives trying to make decisions and pick which way to go, and I want to share this with them. I want to share that, hey, I've done that, I've been you, and what I found was this, right? If you do this sooner, you'll save yourself a lot of time and trouble. Maybe not have to buy a rundown camper. Maybe you'll have enough money that you could actually buy a nice camper and never have to work on it at all. Things like that, right? But you have to know what you want. And you think you know what you want, but you've never really written it down and decided, is that what I want or is that what I've been told I want?
Or am I just emulating that's how the industry operates or used to operate?
Or worse, are you emulating an industry that is designed specifically to bring up an artist, make them famous, and then let them self-destruct? Why would an industry do that? Because in the music industry in particular, when an artist becomes famous, the record label has publishing forever. And if you're gone, the artist is dead because you died from an overdose, they never have to deal with you again, and they make money off that music in perpetuity. Right?
Well, there was conflict behind the fact that
Every
Michael Jackson,
alcoholic that died, every druggie that died, everybody who committed suicide, all of those artists that you love who died those ways, their label is still making a buck off them every single day. So the industry is designed to bring you up, and let you self-destruct.
Well, it's just like
Why would you want to follow that model?
Michael Jackson had the rights to all the Beatles songs. As soon as he was gone, guess what was suddenly being used in movies and
Commercials
television,
and
commercials.
Yeah, exactly. So Michael Jackson had all the publishing for them and was protecting them from being commercialized. But then when he was dead, suddenly the attorneys and the label decided, well, now we can start selling this stuff, the Beatles music, and making more money off of it, even though some of the Beatles are gone, right? And Michael Jackson is out of the way, right? See, that's the real part that bothers me. And if the benefit of that continuous flow of finance was going to Michael Jackson's family, really only going to his family, or to Kurt Cobain's family, or to whoever else, right? And no attorneys and managers and all this baloney label stuff involved in, because you know they take the lion's share of that. If it was only really benefit, because that's what we're doing. Blakgraz is all through trusts. Blakgraz is all owned through trusts. There is no piercing the trust. There is no attorney. There's no judge. There's no government. There's no nothing involved. Just the trusts, canon law. Which means that when I'm gone, it all goes to her and our kids, right? That's it. Nobody else involved. So all the benefit of our hard work of 2 years or more being on the road and building this up, when we're done, all that benefit goes back to our family. That's it. Not funding some war overseas or some big fat politician or some stupid corporate who wants rights to whatever. No, that isn't how it works. That isn't how it works. And see, that's the kind of stuff where I think, well, I wish I could share this stuff with musicians, and let them know things have changed and there's other ways to do it that actually are working. Like Martha said, we have quantifiable results. We are actually making it work. It is actually working. But you can only lead a horse to water. You can't make it drink, right? If it doesn't want the water. That's why I asked before, what is it that you want? Do you even know really what you want? You think you want to be a musician. Maybe you don't even really want to be a musician.
I just want to be a weekend warrior, as we call them.
That's because if you really want to be a musician, then you would perfect your art.
And you wouldn't be going to drink
You don't drink on the job. You don't show up late. You don't complain. I mean, that's one of the oldest jokes is you want to hear a musician complain? Give him work, right? Give him work. It's only because it's true. There's always somebody complaining about, this bar is too small, or this place is too smoky.
Only 5 people showed up.
There's only 50 people here at this stage is too small. I don't like this. I don't like that. Why are we doing this song? I don't like this song. God, did you ever just stop and enjoy what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're making music, you're making people feel good. How about talk about that? But that's not my job. Mm-hmm. My job, I'm not a social worker. It's not my job to teach other musicians, unless maybe they ask. If they ask for information. I mean, the only reason I'm doing this video is I thought that maybe somebody would get some value from it. So I should stop there. I'll just go on for hours otherwise. Mm-hmm. So thanks everybody for tuning in. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe. Please check out the links down below. Don't forget, we have merch for sale and CDs for sale online. We have a little bit of merch left at the live shows and the beer koozies, of course. But even more important, just come to a live show, not just to a Blakgraz show, but go to your local venues. Keep those places open so that we can come back to town and play again. Yeah, and really try to find original bands that you enjoy, that you can go and listen to and support. It makes all the difference in the world, because when I get to shake your hand and look you in the eye and say thank you, it helps us keep our spirits up and moving down the road. All right, y'all. See you in the next one. Oh, there you go. Stretch. You good? Okay, security is in place. All right, so here we go.